Hi, Jessica.
Hey everyone.
Hi, everyone.
There's some noise here. Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today. It's Jessica here with Cointelegraph, and today I'm joined by Alex Dula, founder of Web3 Antivirus. Alex is a leading expert in the field of blockchain security with a strong background in computer science and cybersecurity. He founded Web3 Antivirus, a pioneering company that specializes in developing antivirus solutions for Web3. Under Alex's leadership, Web3 Antivirus has become a trusted and respected brand known for its innovative approach and commitment to security. Hi, Alex. Thanks for joining us today. How are you this afternoon?
Yeah, hi, Jessica. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, I'm doing good. Happy to be here and share a little bit of information and maybe shed a light on the what we're building and why we are so excited with the project that we've built so far.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited to have you here. But before we get started, I just want to remind our audience to please send us your questions in the chat and make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm really excited to be here with Alex. But first, here's a quick video introducing Web3 Antivirus. As we saw from the video, Web3 Antivirus is a type of software that is designed to protect against security threats in the Web3 space. Alex, can you share how Web3 Antivirus works to identify and prevent attacks on blockchain systems and networks, including malware, phishing attacks, and other types of cyber threats? And how does Web3 Antivirus differ from traditional antivirus software?
Well, yeah, so Web3 antivirus is not an antivirus in the conventional sense, but we have named it so that people can more easily understand its mission and purpose, and to pay tribute to antivirus software that has been protecting us for decades. In Web3, safety is a must-have, and we believe that it can and should be accessible to everyone. And after a rather turbulent 2022, crypto enthusiasts and are more aware that their assets need to be protected. And this is why we created a Web3 antivirus. It's an autonomous Chrome extension, something like a protective layer between a user and dangers that may encounter in a Web3 space. And it guards users from signing dangerous transactions or messages and helps not to engage with the malicious websites.
Amazing. And you know, what are some of the most common types of threats that Web3 antivirus is designed to protect against?
Yeah, so I would say there are two main types of threats that the extension protects from. Speaking about phishing, the first one is the phishing websites, and the second one is a malicious smart contracts. So if we talk about the phishing websites, let me briefly explain how it works. So phishing is a classic example of social engineering, and fraudsters impersonate legitimate businesses or individuals, and their goal is to obtain sensitive information such as passwords, credit card numbers, personal contact details, or in case of crypto scams, your private keys or recovery phrases. So often scammers will create websites that almost perfectly resemble the website of legitimate business. There are often cases when crypto scammers advertising those websites so they get on top of search results. And the way to combat phishing is to stay vigilant. Bookmark the website you use for your crypto transactions to be sure you access the original resource every time. If you get an unsolicited email or chat message supposedly from exchange, crypto wallet, or maybe support team of a crypto project, be careful about the links in it, because they could contain malware or lead you to a malicious website. So Web3 Antivirus here provides an additional layer of protection. It underlines a vast database of non-fraudulent, dangerous, and blacklisted websites. It uses AI similarity validation to check domain names and shows a real-time and shows in a real time if a user should stay away of that website. And yeah, and like I said, like another one specialty for Web3 Antivirus is like scanning smart contracts for potential suspicious and malicious activities and other sorts of scam.
Amazing. That makes me recall like a meme that I read recently. The only thing that grows faster than technology is actually scams, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
being very diligent and aware and being able to protect ourselves is really important. I'd just like to remind our audience that this is an interactive show. So if you have any questions or comments, please make sure to feel free to send them in the chat, and I'll ask Alex the question so that he can answer them directly. As we move on, Alex, can you tell me more about like the smart contract analysis as it relates to Web3 antivirus and protecting against those scammers like we mentioned before?
Yeah, of course. So to tell like the first, yeah, if it's the first important thing to understand is that in general, any smart contract, like any transaction on a blockchain, is controlled by smart contracts. And scammers can exploit vulnerabilities, or they can create their own smart contracts with malicious logic. So crypto scammers attempt to have users sign malicious transactions or messages and then drain their wallet. And for example, you may be tricked into thinking that approving a transaction would result in your coins being staked to earn yield. In reality, the transaction or message you approved would take all the tokens out of your wallet and send it to an address controlled by a scammer. So most people don't have technical knowledge to tell a malicious smart contract by looking at its code. And even, yeah, it's even for me, it might take hours to deep dive into understanding sometimes quite complex logic of a smart contract. So as a rule of thumb, we recommend to stay alert about social engineering attacks. And it's often a way that scammers use to involve users in interaction with malicious, with malicious activities, contracts, and unsolicited invitations or promotions to register on a website, sign a message or transaction should be viewed with extreme skepticism and caution. And to cover the smart contract part, and to cover this auditing part, we have created our extension, and it works like this. So every time a user is about to sign a transaction on a different, like on the marketplace, or it could be a swap or a different project, so W38 activates, and we pause the transaction. We put the transaction on pause, like briefly, to run us through our auditing algorithms, and we search for all sorts of red flags. It could be malicious logic, suspicious functions, compromising permissions, low transaction volume, and other. And it's not only about like detecting those flags, but it also like combinations of those detectors, because sometimes sometimes good functions could make like worse, or could make worse things. And in parallel, so what we do is we simulate that transaction in our backend, in the background, and check every single smart contract, every single piece of code that is interacted with this transaction. And yeah, and in a few seconds, we present a risk report, and users can decide whether they would like to proceed with the transaction or not. So it's kind of a two buttons, approve or decline. And yeah, so in a nutshell, this is how the smart contract auditing works.
Absolutely. And I'm curious, like one of the major things that we saw last year is a lot of scams with like NFT drops and things of that nature. And then like the smart contract that if you received something and you went and then sold it, then you would lose all of your like your assets. Is this something that Web3 antivirus could help prevent and kind of scan through and kind of flag?
Uh, yeah, of course. So Web3 Antivirus here is to to, um, to keep you informed about what is happening with every transaction, like what you are going to sign, and it's kind of doing your research in the background and providing you with extensive results, so you can understand what is going to happen if you sign this transaction.
Absolutely. So in layman terms, it's almost like providing that blue check mark to confirm that, hey, we've done our
Yeah.
due diligence, we've reviewed it. It's, we've put it through our processes and you should feel safe to go forward and sign the contract. Like there are no
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
major red flags.
Yeah,
Amazing.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, does Web3 antivirus offer benefits to Web3 projects from the perspective of blockchain security and risk management? Can Web3 platforms benefit from Web3 antivirus extensions just as private users do?
Yeah, of course. So at the development stage, we kept in mind the possibility of integrations with Web3 projects, crypto wallets, and blockchain to support the ecosystem. So yeah, Web3 antivirus can offer substantial benefits for projects, their dev teams, and community. We propose a verification system. One of them is a verification system which allows to add unique information about the project and digital assets, visual and textual details from the project team, along with verified status, like we just talked, like that blue mark, and kind of a status that we display within the Web3A interface. It will not only give users more insight, but will also work as additional confirmation of project's originality. Obviously, scam projects or copycats will not receive such verification, and we hope this will prompt users to carry an additional research. Another one, it could be like integration with the wallets when we talk about. So we can provide the similar report for the users, but not through our interface, not through our extension, but through the wallet or marketplace, so they can we can do that research in the background and deliver the results to the project. Yeah, for example, when W38 is integrated with a wallet, so we can detect poison attacks addresses and tell about this, because this type of scam is really common and nowadays, and anyone can be a victim. Yeah, so but it's only just one of the examples of integration with the projects, and we can discuss individually what we can support and how we could deliver a value for those projects. And of course, I would like to mention integration with other protocols, not integration, but let's say supporting other protocols. And we plan to expand and extend our algorithms beyond the Ethereum blockchain. We will cover a range of protocols, starting with the most popular ones like Polygon, Binance. It's where all the scam happens. And with EVM compatible blockchains, conceptually there will be no difference. So Web3 Antivirus will operate with all such blockchains, actively protecting users from the suspicious interactions, yeah, malicious interactions, yeah, like this.
Amazing. Awesome. We do have a question from the chat. How can the Web3 antivirus be used? So I think this question is mostly about application, how they may be able to integrate it onto their everyday servers and so forth.
Yeah, okay. So it's a very easy setup. So actually there is no setup at all. So what we need to do is what a user needs to do is just get to the Chrome extension store, click install our Web3 antivirus software, and that's it. So we don't ask any integrations. We don't ask for seed phrase. We don't ask to integrations with a MetaMask or any kind of like any kind of other details. So, and we activate our protection right from the installation point.
So it's just as simple as a
supporting
widget.
Yeah, so it's a browser. It's like a widget. It's a browser extension, and it starts checking every transaction. So on every website. So it's not just some specific website or some specific project. So every time we see like interaction with a MetaMask or other wallets, so we literally pause that transaction. So we do not allow that transaction happens until a user sees a report from from our extension, like what we found.
Amazing. And then I have here, it's currently so it has ETH and BNB chain support. Is that correct?
So currently we support ETH, and we are working on deliver our solution to BNB chain as well, and it will happen quite soon, because what we would like to do is like to deep dive as much as possible with one chain and then just copy to others, and we quite succeed with Ethereum as of now.
Amazing. And, moving on, how is Web3 antivirus evolving to meet the changing needs and threats of blockchain space? And what can we expect to see in 2023? And do you plan on rolling out additional features for Web3 projects?
Yeah, of course. So Web3 is going through difficult times now. We know this, and there is lots of talk and its future about its future potential involvement. And we believe that infrastructure projects and valuable solutions that really solves problems will be fine and remain in demand. At the same time, I do not expect the activity of scammers to decrease. That is why the W3A team is focused on constantly improving the extension functionality and building the community around it. Ultimately, our main goal is to provide users with tools and knowledge to take back their safety in Web3. To do this, we monitor threats and security trends so that Web3 antivirus can be as up-to-date as possible to detect the most dangerous scams. And for example, soon we will be able to warn users about additional honeypot attacks that are still on the rise and cost millions of dollars in losses. And in addition, we are also expanding the list of supported wallets and protocols, like I said before, and in order to give protection to as many users as possible that are still, that regardless of which wallet or protocols they use. So and also there is a big trend on transparency. Users want to know more about the projects and products they engage with, and it's perfectly understandable. And we try to be as open as transparent as possible in our work, from like social media to GitHub repositories. This is why actually we rolled out the code to GitHub so everyone can check and verify by themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure you come a lot of like scenarios of scams and things of that nature. And something that we as the community are always very intrigued by is like the level of detail that these scammers go into to really like scam users out of their assets. And I'm curious, what are some of the most tricky or elaborate scams that Web3 antivirus has detected or can detect?
Okay, so yeah, we can talk a lot about this, because every day scammers present something really new. But let's maybe outline some of them. So yeah, I would say the most something that still works and we can see it on everyday basis is a phishing and malicious sites. It's a very common scheme, rather easy to set up, and and with a great potential to expand. Another one is a messages like e-sign. So it's a dangerous scheme, and it's easy to fall for. Phishing sites will trick a user into assigning a message saying it's a falsification, or, for example, signing them up for a whitelist. And since it's not a transaction and there is no gas fee, many users sign that message without a second thought. And after that, it's highly likely that their assets will quickly disappear from their wallet. Another one is there are also various schemes that result in user losing their assets by unknowingly granting access permission to them during the transaction. So it's more common to NFTs, and then after that selling on a OpenSea, for example. And these scams are hard to avoid, and it can be masked by like seemingly okay transaction. To prevent that, Web3 Antivirus shows detailed information about permission requests and assets that users are granted to access to. So the users, and so they will get clear messages explaining what they will receive and what they give and what they receive, as a result of this transaction. And yeah, some other good examples could be poison attacks, and they're really trending now. Scammers create the impression that the user made a zero-value transaction to the same address as a few minutes earlier. So the from address is exactly the same, but the recipient address is different only with first four and last four digits, like symbols. So yeah, imagine a user who received a push notification from their wallet. It could be my Ether wallet, it could be MetaMask, it could be like different, all kind of wallets, and from where the user just sent a transaction. So the user receives a push notifications that tells that another transaction just got through, and but he didn't proceed with the transaction. So what would you do? So first thought would be that my wallet has been hacked, and I have to quickly transfer all my funds to an exchange account or some other account, and that would lead to errors as users will send the funds to the wrong address, and that address could be like the one that was poisoned, that is similar to the one that I just sent. And we're currently developing a solution to alert users, and we'll share more details early next week, how to stay protected from these kind of scams. And if we talk like the most popular scams in general, I also can say that it's a honeypot, because a honeypot prevents a buyer over talking from reselling it. And this inability to sell causes the token's price to only increase for as long as scammers would like. So it creates the appearance of a mooning token, and thereby tricks even more users into buying it. And this is why honeypots are far the most popular tool, I would say. They allow scammers to both manipulate their users and the token price. As honeypots evolve, Web3 Antivirus follow to help users avoid by enticing assets, and they will not be able to resell. So yeah, it's and I can continue because it's like different combinations of these scams, like together with a phishing website, and all of them lead to lose your assets.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely amazing. And, we hear about these scams and we read about them all the time, but now we're talking about Web3, where you're tying in your identity, your wallets, your assets, and risking all of that just seems, it's very nerve-wracking to consider. And the scammers are getting a lot smarter. So I'm wondering, what is one of the most eye-popping scam Web3 Antivirus has spotted to date? And how much do you think would have been lost if Web3 Antivirus wasn't there to help?
Yeah, when it comes to numbers, W3A launched just a month and a half ago. To date, we have sorted over 1.2 million suspicious sites into our database, and we audited thousands of smart contracts. I can't remember. I cannot. Yeah, I cannot mention specific high-profile cases of fraud that we have prevented and that have made headlines, but I guess that is a good thing. The headlines usually describe the cases where scammers succeeded. And so it's impossible to name the exact amount of saved assets because we don't have access to users' wallets and don't collect such information. But for many fraud schemes, such amount can be abstractly described as all assets that were in the user's wallet. For example, we have run into scammers who targeted digital creatives on Dribble, like Web 2.0 platform. The scammers were offering a job to redesign the NFT project's website. On the site, they offer it to connect a wallet to their platform to see all the functionality and details like images, descriptions of the NFTs. If someone connected a wallet and there were assets in it, so the site offering to sign a message, it was not even a transaction, and as a result, all assets would be transferred to the scammers. This is just one example of many, and here alone, Web3 Antivirus saved millions of dollars in assets. So yeah, there is some numbers.
That's incredible. Audience, just want to remind everyone, if you have any questions, please send them our way. I know this is a very exciting topic. I'm very intrigued. Alex, can Web3 antivirus help investigators when trying to identify hackers and scammers? I know you said you had a list of like suspicious sites that's in your Rolodex, but how can you help investigators like help identify these hackers and scammers and potentially help retrieve some of the lost assets, if anything?
Mm-hmm. At the moment, we don't identify hackers ourselves. We directly monitor suspicious activity, but we already working on algorithms to uncover fraud schemes and gather information about hackers and thieves. In the near future, we will roll them out. We are ready to cooperate with other companies and projects, share the data we find, and work out new solutions. And our goal is to make Web3 more secure, and this will not be possible without the cooperation within the Web3 community. Yeah, and in the meantime, we reveal scams on our social networks and report them on projects like Chain Abuse, where everyone can read more about them.
Amazing. Now, I know people in Web3 community are usually very cautious about new projects and instruments. It's hard to gain trust, and for good reason. How does this influence the way Web3 antivirus works, or how does this influence the way that you engage and develop communicational strategies with the Web3 community?
Yeah, so I would say transparency is a key to trust. And as I said before, that is the reason we are open to the community. You can find information about me, talk to me on Twitter, on LinkedIn, look at my experience and previous projects to make your own opinion. Because we value transparency, we have made Web3 Antivirus open source. You can visit our GitHub repository, check the code, build a copy, and make that the extension operates, and make sure that the extension operates precisely as described. Another important aspect about trust is users' data. W3A doesn't have access to any user data or assets, like as simple as that. So we're not a custodial wallet, so we're not keeping the funds, so we're not touching anything like that belongs to the user. Besides being open ourselves, we try to foster transparency and safety in this field. we welcome cooperation with Web3 projects that care about security and its further development. Yeah, and we also have plans to build our community of validators to scrutinize our analysis even more. In addition, we actively audit all instances of suspicious activities to be useful as data providers to analytics, like for like data providers and analytics companies. Yeah, and I cannot. Yeah, we have a really great team of professionals with deep experience in blockchain solutions, protocol development, and smart contract audits. They know firsthand how crucial it's to ensure security. We know how to we know why we are building this product, and we are very motivated to build it solid.
Amazing. Now, I know you mentioned using Web3 antivirus is just as simple as downloading a Chrome extension and going on your way, but I'm sure there's a lot of questions from our users and audience. Is there any fee affiliated or associated with using the Chrome extension?
No, it's absolutely free. So you can, we plan to add like a premium subscription on a later stages, but all the basic functionality will be free forever. So we are not going to charge users to keep them secure.
Amazing. And final question: what role do user education and awareness play in the effectiveness of Web3 antivirus?
So yeah, Web3 is a wild waters, and many people know very little about security when they first come to Web3, and even experienced users are often caught by fraud. So we are all aware of basic safety rules, such as security key storage, no cloud software backups for your wallet, no photo of seed phrase, like checking different sources, and so on. But every day, the number of schemes is increasing. They are getting more elaborate, and basic is no longer enough. Yeah. So another factor is that people often don't have skills or time to do background check on a new project. Also, as the FTX case showed, even the big players in the market are exposed to risk, and no one can make guarantees. So I believe the most valuable thing projects can do is what they can do is to invest in educating users and help them increase their chances against scams. There are teams that do this pretty well already, and I'm sure it pays off. So, and we are at Web3 Antivirus prioritize this goal as well, explaining the most common dangers in Web3, describing new scams, how they work, and how to avoid them in a simple and clear language. And of course, the essence of our product is to provide users with one more instrument to stay safe and enhance their research.
Amazing. Well, Alex, I think I've learned so much today. Thank you so much for connecting with us today. Today, we've learned about Web3 antivirus. We've learned that it's a type of software that is designed to protect against security threats in blockchain and crypto space, Web3. It works by identifying and preventing attacks on the blockchain system and networks, including malware, phishing attacks, honeypots, and others. Web3 antivirus differs from traditional antivirus software in that it's specifically designed to address the unique security challenges posed by decentralized systems and application. It's as simple as a 1, 2, 3 going on Google Chrome and downloading the application, absolutely free. And it may be used by organizations and individuals to protect their blockchain assets and transactions, and may be integrated with other security measures to provide a comprehensive approach to blockchain security. Before we sign off, I'm sure that the audience would like to know, I know you mentioned you're available on Twitter and so forth, but if they wanted to reach out to you, and if they had any questions about Web3 antivirus, can you share how they can get in touch with you or connect with your community?
Yeah, so we have a Twitter account, like a Web3 Antivirus account. They can also send me a direct message either on LinkedIn or Twitter account, and yeah, and I would be happy to help and advise on every question or help with scam investigation, or like if anyone would like to share another sort of scam or like suspicious activity, we would be happy to discuss and see how we could, all of us, how we could improve our product and make Web3 a safer place.
Absolutely. Well, Alex, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much. I just want to thank you again for joining us today for the AMA. And thank you to our audience for being interactive and sending along your questions. I also want to remind everyone to please subscribe to Cointelegraph's YouTube channel. We do AMAs like this quite frequently. Thanks again, Alex. And thanks again to our audience. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you.